course, young Mozart in a go-kart over there. People love great bank robbery stories. So let's give them something bold, shameless, and brazen as to talk about over their latte.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Part-Time Allies Part-Time Podcast. Today, I'm going to be your host, Josh, and joining me on the couch, back to a regular schedule, we have AJ.
Hi.
Ryan.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And Jordan.
It's good to be back, Josh.
Yeah, good to have you guys back. Welcome.
Yeah.
So, how was your Canada Day?
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was funny. Ryan and I were both in Vancouver that day, but we didn't end up meeting up just because we were out with our friends.
We missed each other by like 5 minutes.
Pretty well. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like a love story.
A love story.
That never happened.
Yeah,
the love story that never happened
was never happened.
Could have happened. The love story between me and Jordan.
Well, it's good to have you guys back. We had David on as a guest last week. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to the episode.
I heard David. David,
Yeah.
if you're listening out there, good job.
Yeah, he did a great job.
You suck.
That's how you treat your listeners.
That's right. No, he was fine. So
Come back to the podcast.
thanks for coming on, David, and I appreciate
thank you,
having you
David.
as a listener.
Thanks, David.
Right on. So there are some big news topics we want to hit this week.
Oh my
However,
gosh.
before we get started, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. What you got, AJ?
I have been playing. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about
That
this.
sounds like a very robotic answer.
I have been playing video games.
Video games.
I am a human too, don't worry.
I've been playing human games. Pillars of Eternity.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Mostly trying to beat that game. But it's hard because it's really long.
I think you've convinced us. I don't think you're a robot.
I am a robot. No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, Pillars of Eternity. Been playing that mostly, but I haven't had much other time. But lately, I've been actually working on a little art piece
Ooh.
for a movie. For a movie I watched just recently.
Ooh.
We'll get into that later.
Sounds good.
That's what I've been doing.
Cool. What about you, Ryan?
Well, since we last spoke, I have since beat Dishonored, which
The first one, right?
yeah, first one.
Yep.
Ooh.
Really, really fun game. I had a lot of fun with that. I had like the high chaos ending,
Nice.
so probably what most people have. It was pretty good though. The other game I've been playing a lot lately is the Attack on Titan game for PS4.
Wings of Freedom?
Yeah, it's called Wings of Freedom on Steam, but it's not called that on PS4. Which
That's weird.
yeah, I don't
It's
know.
the same
why.
game, though, right?
It's exact same game.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so fun. You feel like Spider-Man with swords, like swinging through all the different districts and towns and stuff, and you're just slaying the crap out of Titans.
Yep.
I'm going to want to know more eventually.
It's a cool game. Like I like how they followed through the story with it too. Like the very first mission is when you're all in that forest with the wooden training titans, and like they don't move at all, and you're swinging around killing their necks. Like that part was cool.
Yeah,
Going to be.
the controls at first were like, they were kind of, I don't want to say difficult, but it was like, this is a really different kind of game control wise.
Yes, but it's very rewarding once you learn it. Like it's one of those control schemes that once you've put the time in to master it, it's like, oh wow, I can kind of do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But you have to get to that point though.
After like half an hour, I had the basics down pat, and I was like, yeah, I can do this swing and stuff.
Yeah.
Look at me go.
That's cool. I put that game down for a couple of months and came back to it and was like, oh, I'm not as good at this as I remember being.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I think the other game that I played just a little. Oh, sorry, there were two games I played. It's been 2 weeks, guys. Come on. The two games I've been playing. Other two games I've been playing were Metal Gear Solid 5. I've been starting through that again, and I just got Civilization 5.
Oh,
I've never played a Civilization game, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun with it.
right on. How far are you in Metal Gear?
Not very far.
Okay.
I've done just like the first few missions. I did a couple side quests to get like
Such a good
translators and like marksman specialist and that kind of thing.
Such a
So
good game.
Cool.
yeah, it's fun. I just love running around shooting people, listening to Kids in America.
That is a thing you can do in that game.
There's nothing you can do.
Yep. So, Jordan, how about yourself?
Well, I've been playing For Honor. It's been 2 weeks, remember?
There's like 50
Yeah,
of you
So,
now.
yeah. I've played For Honor a little bit. I normally play about 3 matches a night if I can. And I just got near Autonoma right before the Steam sale ended.
That's right. We had a little chat about that yesterday.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
It looks
You
like a
guys
game.
definitely should get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attention to detail in this game.
Ah.
And it's a very fluid game. Everything feels so smooth. Like all the controls, the story. There's even stories and within items as well. It's really cool. The side quests don't necessarily feel like side quests. They're kind of attached to the story. You don't need to do them, but it's really interesting. And I find it's very similar to Shadow of the Colossus, like trying to find like certain hidden things in the game. There's a lot of interesting parts in the game which are hard to find, but once you find them, you're like, oh, cool, this is cool. I'm going to go search for more things. I don't want to get into too much detail for people who haven't played it, but it's definitely a fun game, and I recommend it.
Yeah, last week on the podcast, David is at pretty much the exact same point you are when we talked about it, at least. So yeah, we had a good conversation about it last week. So maybe don't listen listen to that part of last week's episode.
You guys were saying it was like a multiple playthrough game?
Yeah, so I was kind of trying to dance around it when I was talking to Jordan about it yesterday.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's the kind of game when you beat it, you're not done. And it's not like a new game plus where you go back in and you have like one extra weapon. It completely changes the game every time you play. So you'll see, and it's very good about it. Like at the end of the credits when you beat the first ending, it's like, hey, you're not done with this yet. Like just hit start again, trust me, and it's worth it. So right on.
What have you been playing, Josh?
So when you told me that you were going to start playing Metal Gear Solid 5, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably play through that game again because it's been a long time. So I've kind of binged it. I just beat part 1.
Oh my goodness.
Which is about mission 31 approximately of the main missions.
Yeah.
That game is great.
It's a good
It's
game.
so good at making you feel like a military operative. Like, yeah, that game does some cool stuff. Trying to play through the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, it's hard. So I read an article saying that they changed the physics engine a little bit, so Crash falls faster when he jumps.
Oh.
And it makes the game way harder.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like all of the jumps become like pixel perfect jumps, and it's tough. So I'm about a quarter of the way through it, I think.
The first game?
Yeah, the first game. It's rough, man.
I was considering getting it. I'm like, maybe I'll wait till I have less games to play and it's a bit cheaper and, lots of free time on my hands.
Oh, speaking of games like that, like I want to know what people bought.
From the Steam sale?
Yeah, the Steam sale.
Civilization 5.
Yeah,
I bought DLC for Attack on Titan Wings of Freedom.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
There's DLC?
There is.
I didn't get much.
Oh my goodness.
On Steam, at least. I don't know if there is on PS4.
It might be already incorporated. Who
Could
knows?
be. Could
Yeah.
be.
I just got the Limbo and Inside bundle. That's it.
Have you beat Inside yet?
No, I just bought it.
Oh, DJ. That game is so good.
Yeah, like I just got the pack for Limbo and Inside. So I'm gonna
Oh,
beat.
my goodness.
Should
yes.
I? Does it like?
Limbo's really short. You could be in like 3
Okay.
hours.
I'm
And
probably
they're
I
not
might just
related
do it.
at all.
Okay. Oh yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
So I got. That's the only thing I got, and everything else I give gifts to people.
Nice.
That's about it.
I bought PlayerUnknown's Battleground, not on sale, just to try it.
I'm hearing really good things. about
Me too, but
Can we
I didn't have a great time with it, so I got the refund.
Really?
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, though, it's very much like you go online with like a few friends and play that.
Yeah.
Playing it solo. I only had one good experience, and it was me lying on the ground with a crossbow for 20 minutes until a guy walked through a door and I shot him in the throat. But other than that, no, I just it was a lot of me not like because my internet connection at home isn't very good and my graphics card's not very good, so it was a lot of lag of like me opening a door, seeing a guy with a gun, going oh no, holding the back arrow to get out of this room, and then like lag, and then 5 seconds later, oh, you're dead. Okay, that was fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrific.
Yeah, so I returned it.
It's an early access game.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I made this roll not with you guys, but with this friend at work, Eric. He actually has it, and he really enjoys it.
He's
plays
playing
with
it
a lot
all
of
the
friends.
time.
He's always playing it. But one of the rules that I made with them were like, okay, we're never going to buy any more. I think I made this rule with you too, AJ. But never buy any games that are in alpha or beta stages because most of the time you'll be disappointed. So always wait for the release.
Well, what happened to me was I always play the early access a lot, and then when it releases, I played so much of the early access I don't really want to play it anymore.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of sucks on that point of view, but yeah.
Cool. So, was there anyone else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone buy anything besides you got Nier?
I bought Nier,
Yeah.
and then I ended up buying some extra DLC for The Witcher. I'll probably circle back to that again because
Nice.
I really liked it.
Did you not get the Darkest Dungeon DLC?
No, not yet. I've got so many games that I want to play, but I don't have enough time.
If it was on sale, I was
have
gonna
like
buy it for
2
you.
hours a night. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I got Civ 5, but for some reason I had put funds in my wallet, so I had some extra lying around. I'm like, oh, I can get Portal 2, and I got Castle Crashers as well.
Oh,
nice.
Castle Crashers. That's a fun
Portal
game.
2 I've never played, so I'm excited for that. But Castle, I think everyone's played Castle Crashers at some point in their life. So
Such a good game.
It's a great couch co-op game.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know how I love my couch co-op.
Yeah.
You do?
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I also picked up Life is Strange for free with PS Pro.
Oh,
The game's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That
It's
game
pretty
does some
good.
stuff. I didn't realize, like, I had heard the story was really cool, but I didn't realize it's a time travel game.
Mm-hmm.
So you make a choice, and then it's like the butterfly effect happens, and it's like, oh, this will have consequences, and I'm like, oh no, rewind, and then like redo it for a different way. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys been specifically watching any new shows or
Oh.
movies or anything?
Yes, I'm 3/4 of the way through Death Note.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've been reading that, not watching it. I watch it when I'm done reading it, but it's so good.
Yeah, a friend of mine has a media a friend of mine has a media server that I have access to, and he has all the English dubs of it, which are all right.
They're okay.
Yep, they're fine. But I'm going through them right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's on Netflix too.
It definitely used to be. I'm not sure if it still is.
Used to be, maybe.
Netflix is really bad about.
Yeah,
It
keeping
might have
things on.
gone-
Yeah.
They have an ad on Netflix with the not the animated one, the anime one, but the real life
Oh.
Death Note one.
That's actually what made me want to go back and watch it. Was seeing that trailer and going, "Oh, that looks weird." And I heard that this was really good in the anime, so I kind of want to watch it. But
I haven't seen the live action trailer yet, but I heard that Willem Dafoe is Ryuk, so
Yep.
you know, he does look like him, kind of.
he doesn't need makeup.
No, he doesn't.
Really.
they only kind of show him in the shadow in the trailer.
I
So
think that's the only good part of that trailer.
yeah, Ryuk looks really cool in that trailer, actually.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing.
But
I might have to watch it then.
yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we're not talking about Death Note anymore, what I've been watching is another anime called Drifters.
Oh yeah,
I am really psyched on this anime. It's so good.
what's it about?
It's so it's essentially this world where it's a fantasy world where heroes or villains or war heroes throughout history are being brought into this fantasy world.
Oh, okay, yep.
And they're called drifters, and so they're kind of thrust in this world, and they're like, what's going on? And it turns out there's this big war between the kind of evil group called the End, and the drifters are gradually teaming up with people to like fight back and everything. And it's got like a few Japanese samurais and stuff like that throughout history. There's some war generals and things like that, and then there's people like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid are in it.
Awesome.
What?
Yeah, it kind of just pulls people from wherever, and Rasputin's in it, Anastasia, Joan of Arc. If you watch it, you find out who the Black King is, and it's really what interests me. So go watch it, and if you guys watch it, email us in specifically towards me and let me know what you think of the whole Black King deal.
Is it Hitler?
No,
Oh, okay.
but Hitler does make an appearance
Oh, wow.
in one way or another in this anime.
Interesting.
That kind of reminds me of Fate Stay Zero. Have you watched that, AJ? Or Fate Stay Night, sorry.
No.
Yeah, it's an anime about these kids who I don't know why they have to fight, but they have to fight in some tournament, and they get this familiar or like the spirits come fight with them, and it's like Knights from the Round Table, and so
I've heard a little bit about it.
yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it a lot.
They just a fight
Yeah,
tournament arc.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've been watching that, and it's so good. There's some weird. It's a very serious anime, but then there's lots of like just weird humor moments out of the blue in it. So yeah, it's fun.
Right on. What about you, AJ?
Well, the only thing I've been watching is actually with Ryan.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one's good too.
ReZero.
ReZero.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, that's Fate Stay Night.
That's not.
ReZero, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay, no, they have another. Yeah. Okay, no, never mind, I'm wrong.
You're
Go ahead.
wrong.
Yeah, there's
There's Fate Stay Night with like a subtitle something zero, and I always get them confused. But
Yeah.
no, you're right.
ReZero is like a dude that trying to like randomly goes into this fantasy world.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes of that and got kind of
It's really-
bored.
I don't know. It's so weird. It's
yeah. We
cliffhanger.
watched a few and we're like, we're not really sure yet, and then we watched a few more and it's like, I think we want to keep watching this.
So yeah, when we hang out, we'll probably watch it. But essentially, if this dude dies, the day resets. So
Oh, okay.
it's
like
quite
Groundhog
interesting.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not original, but the way they do it's pretty good. So I don't know.
Yeah, it gave me some like Sword Art vibes, kind of.
Yeah, it definitely gave me some sort of vibes as well.
yeah, it's definitely a Groundhog Day, except if Bill Murray thought of really messed up ways for him to die.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I've been watching really.
Right on, Jordan.
I've been watching The Walking Dead. I still haven't finished it yet, but I'm
Just kidding.
pretty close.
Oh,
Yeah, to
Catching up?
finishing season 6. I don't know if there is another season after season 6.
I don't know anymore.
Season 7 just finished not too long ago.
Oh, really? Okay, so it'll be on Netflix pretty soon.
I
then.
want to
Yeah.
know
Oh,
what
nice.
you're thinking of the progression of the show.
I think it's fine.
Yeah,
I normally-
exactly what. Yeah,
I like it. I like it in terms of I could do something else at the same time and I
Yeah.
can keep up with the story. And I like videos like that. I like series
yeah.
like that
Yeah.
because I like cooking. So I'll just put it there and I'll cook dinner or I'll cook some sort of pastry, normally banana bread. And it's nice just to have it open in the background and just kind of watch it from time to time. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Almost done, so I'm going to have to find another show to watch.
Oh no.
Little side
know.
tangent. If you ever get a chance, try Jourdain's banana bread. It's really good.
So if you know him personally,
I've actually started baking something new.
Oh,
Yeah.
a new.
Irish soda bread. It's actually really
What?
good.
What's
Yeah.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the
taste?
Part-Time Allies Part-Time Cooking Podcast.
Yeah, you ready to bake? Let's bake some goods.
That's a
Oh.
that's a new segment.
speaking of baking, have you watched the new Oats videos that came out today or yesterday?
Oats.
Oats?
Yeah, Oats Studio.
Oats
What?
Studio? Oh, the fire-based one?
Yeah, the guy. What's his name?
I don't know.
Neil Blomkamp. It's Neil Blomkamp's like personal studio where he makes these weird. It's like a YouTube funded thing. I think. I don't know. It's strange. But
How did you end up watching that video? I submitted the video on the chat, but
Yeah.
how did you...
I had seen it from like the day it came out. So this is okay. So I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan, and with all the stuff that's been happening around him getting fired and rehired, I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit more at the end of the show. But I got really into following Death Stranding news, which is his new game coming out, and there are a lot of rumors tied that Oats Studio and Death Stranding have like some tie-in the back end. So I've been like really paying attention to Oats stuff to see if there's any hints about Death Stranding. So far, nothing, but the videos are really good.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, there was 3 new Cooking with Bob videos that came out yesterday that are pretty funny.
So confused, but so interesting.
Yeah, it's it's weird. Check it out, Oats Studio on YouTube.
Will do.
One last thing before we got off of TV is I didn't realize this until yesterday, but Twin Peaks has a 3rd season that's airing right now.
Ew.
Can you summarize Twin Peaks for me in like spoiler-free like 2 sentences? Because I have no idea. I hear people talking about this, and I'm like, what is this?
FBI detective shows up in small town America to solve a crime. Stuff gets weird.
That's
So it's
all
like-
I
Like
know. It's
Stranger
weird.
Things weird? Or
No, like a mix of Stranger Things with just like weird. Like
Okay.
Like
There's a-
JoJo weird.
there's a lady that pets a teapot or a log. No, it's a log. Yeah,
That's like
she
creepy.
pets a log.
This is a live-action show, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's weird.
There's a scene that involves a red room with a little person dancing, but the whole scene is filmed in reverse, and he like jumps on a couch. It's weird. There's some weird stuff that happens.
Sounds creepy, not weird.
But is it good?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's considered a cult classic.
Oh, okay.
So they brought it back with a lot of the same actors, but they stopped filming it. I think it was probably close to 15 years ago. So all the actors are like way older.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I've only watched the first 10 minutes of episode 1 because it's 2 hours long, and I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. But yeah, I plan on watching that.
So is
Yeah.
it kind of like Deadly Premonition then?
So okay,
I was just gonna ask.
Deadly Premonition. The way I describe Deadly Premonition to people who've seen Twin Peaks is picture a Japanese game developer who flew to America, stuck himself in a hotel, and only watched Twin Peaks, and then went back to Japan and made a game about America. That's what Deadly Premonition is.
That's a
So,
that's a very good
it's
description.
Yeah, it's a Japanese man's take on America with only having exposure to Twin Peaks. And yeah, I don't know. If you know one of those pieces of media, hopefully that will help you describe what the other one's like. Okay, so before we go on to our 2 big topics today, I want to quickly mention Games Done Quick, which is a bi-yearly charity that happens, twice a year. There's Summer Games Done Quick and then just regular Games Done Quick. It's charity supporting Doctors Without Borders, and it's ending tonight sometime as we're recording. So it's a week-long thing. They raise around $1 million every year, and it's people speedrunning games, and it's really fun to watch. So if you've never checked it out, they have all of their VODs on YouTube of all of the runs, and yeah.
It's so crazy to see a game that you loved and cherished and played for hours and hours, and that one person beat it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, they just destroy them. Like Super Mario World is famous for you're able to, through actions in the game, to program the game. So you can like set up RAM, and it's like jumping on this turtle and doing this, and all of a sudden the game's like, oh yeah, you won. Like, good game. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's crazy to think about how these people have, created this community to just, speedrun.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Well, just speedrunners in general, I guess I'm talking about now.
Well, you said one of the people was doing the newest Doom game.
Yeah, and the newest Doom game is so broken. So you know in Doom when the characters would flash and you can go up and punch them, right?
Yeah.
And when you do that, your character model kind of after the animation will go back a few frames, like step backwards. So what you do is you lure these enemies over to doors, and then you turn around and punch them, and the punch sends you back through the door without having to complete the level. So the speed run revolves around you like glitching yourself through walls to beat it faster.
Oh my goodness.
It's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch that.
Oh,
So what are
wow.
your guys' favorite games to watch speedrunners play?
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
That's
I
one of
like
my
That
big
was a
ones.
good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I don't know what my favorite one is, but I can tell you my least favorite is Bloodborne, because I'm watching that. I'm like, this freaking person is so good at this, and I am so bad.
And Bloodborne has a really cool skip in the 1.0 version of it where you can skip the entire middle section of the game. So like when you in the tutorial area where you beat that werewolf and you walk out.
Father
Guacamole.
No, not that guy. Like the very first werewolf, you don't even have any weapons, and like he's supposed to
Oh,
kill you there.
on the table.
That one.
Yeah. So the room right after that, there's a jump you can do over a gate there that gets you to like the last half of the game.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Interesting.
Because
Wait,
the
do you
world
even have a weapon at that point?
in the speed run he does because he has to go get some other stuff. But yeah, it was really cool.
That makes me want to go play the Soul series.
I know.
Just talking
I
about
keep
it.
seeing Bloodborne on my PS4. I'm like, oh gosh, I really want to play this again.
I need to play
Wait,
it.
has
again.
has
Hey, we should
everyone
play
beaten
together.
that game?
No.
All
No,
of
I
the series?
haven't. I haven't.
Okay, which ones have you beaten?
All of them.
All of them? AJ?
Everyone said Bloodborne.
Ryan?
And
None of
three.
them.
And
Oh,
and 3.
okay.
Sorry, I haven't beat 3.
The theme
Okay.
of our podcast is Ryan sucks at Souls games.
That was going to be our first Let's Play series. Ryan does not like
That
Souls
would be an
games.
amazing Let's Play.
It's not that
Sorry,
I
not
don't-
not
yeah,
that you
it's
don't
not
like
that I
them.
don't like. It's that it's a very much a love-hate relationship.
Mhm.
Very much.
I like them and they're done very well. It's just Ryan sucks at them and gets mad really fast.
Yeah. How about you, Jordan? Have you beat all of them?
I've beaten all of them except for the third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third one, its last DLC gives it like another last boss. That's so good. Oh my goodness. He's awesome.
I'll have to play it.
I never do the DLC. I'm so dumb.
Oh.
Yeah, me neither.
Some of them aren't good, but some of them are really good. So, like the Dark Souls 1 DLC, there's only one pack. It's almost a guarantee, or it's almost like a necessity in my mind because the second boss in that DLC, Artorias,
Yeah.
is BA, man. Like, oh,
I know.
so cool.
I'd be really interested to know how many people actually buy the DLC and beat it after they've already beaten the game. So let's say the game comes out, you beat the game, the DLC comes out a month later, they buy it, but do they actually play it? Because when I play a game and I beat it, it's pretty well, it's done for me. If there's any more DLC, it's like, well,
that's kind of happens to me.
Well, to be completely honest, with Shadow of Mordor, I had the Game of the Year edition. I beat the campaign, and like the Game of the Year has the DLC. I beat the game. I'm like, I don't really want to play the DLC, even though like the game's amazing. But I was like, I feel like I'm done. I feel like I did it. So
It's kind of like when I played Skyrim and I beat the main quest, and I'm like, I don't really want to play this anymore.
but
It happened to me, but then I played Skyrim again.
They had so many cool mechanics.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple movies to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking about Transformers 5.
amazing.
Transformers 5 and
we-
Despicable Me
we
3.
we all went and bought multiple tickets to both these movies. We saw multiple showings.
Yep.
We were hooked. We even dressed as the characters.
Yep.
I was the minion Dave. I'm pretty sure that's the one-eyed one. Josh was dressed as Gru.
Of
course.
No.
AJ was one of the daughters.
Oh no.
The one who likes unicorns.
It's so fluffy.
and then Jordan was El Macho from
Perfect.
Despicable Me.
Yeah,
Is that
I-
two?
Two.
Yeah,
I
Despicable
used
Me.
to have his Fu Manchu there for a while there.
Oh gosh.
I could do this little jig.
No, the first movie we want to talk about is Baby Driver. Baby Driver. Baby Driver.
He's Mozart in a go-kart.
He is indeed
Was
Mozart.
Was he
This
slow?
movie's too good, guys.
This movie was
Watch it.
great.
Yeah.
Director Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. So when I went into this, so Edgar Wright in my brain is Shaun of the Dead,
Yep.
Hot Fuzz,
Yep.
and End of the World.
The World's End.
Or The
World's
World's End, thank you. It's tomato,
Yeah.
tomato.
Yeah.
That
Except
mov-
not at all.
Quick side thing. That movie's really confusing because I think that came out at the same time as This Is the End,
Yeah, it did.
the Jonah Hill, Seth
Oh.
Rogen movie.
Yeah.
So there was so much confusion with like, what movie are we sitting in? We want to see an Edgar Wright movie, and we're seeing all that like dirty comedy kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it was a really confusing time. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Edgar Wright, I kind of know him as, and maybe this is just how I remember his previous works, but they're all like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and everything I
Yeah.
associate him with. And it's kind of,
And Bill Nighy shows
And-
up at some point.
and Bill Nighy. It's very British. Like I remember a lot of his work feeling very British. And he does film in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was something about Baby Driver that it felt like a step up from all of his previous work. I felt like it felt more. Not that his previous work wasn't A-list stuff, but this felt like A-list stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had more diverse actors, I guess, like because Simon Pegg and Nick Frost aren't in it at all.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this was his brainchild for the past 20 years. He's been wanting to make like a high pace or fast paced action car kind of movie, and he's had this idea and just couldn't really pitch it to Hollywood.
Did you hear about the music video?
No.
So he already had technically filmed this before. He did
Oh.
a music video for some band, and it's basically the intro scene of the movie with Baby in the car. But it's totally different actors, and they're dressed up totally different ways. But it's the same thing. Like he's playing the beat of the robbery to the music, and then waiting for the guys to get in the car and drive away. So he's like you said, he's had this brainchild for a while, and he's made a piece of art around it before. But this is the swan song, I guess, like the
Yeah.
culmination of all the years waiting to do this piece of work. And it's great.
It's incredible.
It's so good.
It is one of the most naturally woven things, like the juxtaposition of music and film. And
Yeah, like if you consider yourself a film buff, a music buff, or like an action movie buff at all, you owe it to yourself to see this movie. It is incredible how well he puts all these pieces
so let's
together.
backtrack a little bit. What's it about? So for people who
It's
don't
about Baby.
It's about Baby.
know, Baby.
So yeah, it's about this kid who somehow gets into the criminal underworld and is one of the best getaway drivers available. So a mob boss, played by Kevin Spacey, hires Baby to be his driver for a lot of his like big time jobs. The thing that about Baby though is he's had an accident where he has a thing called I don't know I didn't
Tinnitus.
Is it tinnitus?
Yeah,
Because I've heard it
tinnitus.
pronounced both ways, tinnitus or tinnitus. But anyways, yeah, he has tinnitus, which if you don't know what that is, it's when you hear a ringing in your ears all the time. So to
White
drown
noise.
it, yeah, like white noise. So to drown it out, he listens to music all the time. And so the music you hear throughout the movie are licensed soundtracks that are what Baby's playing in his headphones at all times. And it's just so good.
Yeah, the music lines up with a lot of the actions that are going on throughout the movie, so it's really, really good in that way. I love when music lines up with things in movies, and that's all this movie did. So it was really good.
Yeah, like even the gunfights, every shot is like a hit
beat.
on a tom of a beat.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Jordan, what did you think of it?
It's an amazing movie. It's one of those movies where after you watch it, you want to watch it again, just so that you could look at individual pieces of the movie and just appreciate it even more. So it's something that you definitely want to go watch again. I actually looked up online. I don't want to say too much stuff if you guys are going to be watching it, but it's really interesting watching other people dig into it and get all this extra information that you had no idea about. And like Ryan said before, this Edgar Wright, he had spent so much time thinking about this movie and executed it so well. And it's really interesting what he did with the limited amount of resources that he has. Edgar Wright's very clever in how to use the resources that he has available. And the way that he did that, he was able to build the characters even more. So they kind of like develop certain personalities based off of the resources that Edgar Wright had available. For instance, this isn't really a big spoiler, but there's this one part in the movie where the driver had to replay the song, and the reason why he had to replay the song, like in the movie, he needs to replay it so that he has everything perfect in place so that he could do all the actions required. But in reality, when they were filming it, the song wasn't long enough. So that's why he had to replay it.
Way.
Yep,
So
I
it
read
was
that.
really interesting.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Also very clever.
Yeah, I also read this thing that Edgar Wright talked to George Miller does Mad Max.
Yep,
Is
that's
that
right.
correct?
George
Yeah.
Miller.
Edgar Wright went to George Miller talking about practical effects because I guess 5% of Baby Driver was CGI, and that for an action movie like that is so minimal.
It's incredible.
Like
Yeah.
almost all of it was practical effects. I'm like, okay, that's a good way to go about this. Like talking about stunt drivers and stuff like that too with George Miller. So yeah, it's done well. If you like car chases, it's a good movie. If you like music, it's a good movie. If you like quirky characters, it's a good movie. Like it knocks off a bunch of things that make a good movie.
Yeah, it kind of falls into that I call it the Grand Budapest Hotel category of like my brain for movies of just like how well all the pieces mesh together, like the art direction and the music and the cinematography and the actors and just like there's a weird charm there that all the actors exude, right? I don't really know how to describe it yet. I've been thinking about this for a long time and I don't have a word for it, but it's a good movie and you should go see it.
Well, the style of this movie when like the next day when I was thinking about it, the style is very much to the tone of a Coen brother or Tarantino style movie.
Yep.
Like it doesn't feel like an because Edgar Wright had his style for those three movies and you could tell they were all similar, but this isn't like that.
No.
But it's good in its own right.
And he worked quite closely with Tarantino on this film. Like they're good friends.
Yeah.
So it shows. Yeah, like you said, this is It feels like
I can see that.
It feels like Tarantino could have made this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But is he slow? No.
No.
Yeah, there's a great scene in like the first quarter of that movie that I every movie for me I feel like I'm always teetering on if I'm gonna like it, and then there's one scene that grabs me for those movies that are really special, and the is it slow scene was that for me.
And he has the Mozart in a go-kart.
Mozart in a go-kart. Oh gosh, so good.
Watch that movie.
Yep, go see it.
Skyrocketed to like my top 10
Yeah.
list of all time.
I-
It really did.
I actually tried to look up a picture of all the different cassettes that he has.
Oh yeah,
And I couldn't find anything. So I'll have to take a look again.
we'll have to do a frame by frame part-time analysis.
Yeah.
Part-time allies analysis.
Bring in my smartphone in the theater and this. They're like, hold on, you got to pause the movie. I just got to take a picture of this scene.
Oh gosh.
This was, I wouldn't say this is in my top 10. It's definitely up. Like, it's a really, really good movie, and it's up there. And I will critically and artistically, I will praise it in every way. It wasn't necessarily in my top 10, but it's still like, go see it. It's, if you like cinema, you will like this movie.
Yeah.
What
So-
about you guys? Would you guys put it in your top 10s? I definitely would put it on my top 10.
would.
So I like to rate movies by comparing them to other movies, and for me, this falls into a category of movies like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or Snatch, right? And I love all of those movies to death, and I haven't thought about it enough to know which of those movies I like better than the other ones, but it's definitely up there in that category of like Tarantino, Coen brother style movie. It's reached that category for me, but I don't quite know where it is yet. But yeah. That brings us to the other movie we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday. We saw Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man.
The Marvel buff here
Spider-Man.
is so happy.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Well,
Me too.
why don't you guys talk about it?
My gosh.
What else can we say than Tom Holland is Peter Parker and he is Spider-Man? What I think you guys mentioned it last week, and one of the things I've been saying for years. Tobey Maguire, great Peter Parker, okay Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield,
Terrible.
not a great Peter Parker, but a pretty decent
He's a
Spider-Man.
pretty good Spider-Man.
Tom Holland, great Peter Parker, great Spider-Man. Just the personality he had, hit every note, which was so good. All the like side characters in this movie, I thought were pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of the guy playing Flash Thompson,
Me neither.
but
Yeah, he was the concierge from Grand Budapest Hotel.
that's
which-
kind of why I
I couldn't untypecast him from that. But
He plays awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Way better.
instead of mean
can't-
bully.
I can't see. Is Flash who ends up being Carnage?
No, Flash ends up being
Venom.
Agent Venom.
Agent Venom.
Agent
Okay.
Venom, yeah.
It's when they have control of the symbiote and they give it to Flash, because he's a war vet, but he lost his leg, so he couldn't fight anymore. But he had like a really good heart, and then the U.S. government has the symbiote, and they come to him and they're like, "Do you want to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And
weird.
so the symbiote gives him legs again.
I feel like I can't see that character play him.
No. The other Flashes in the other Spider-Man movies, yeah, I could see them, but yeah,
Not
not
this
really
one.
this one. But everyone, that's the thing too. This one, it doesn't look like 30-year-old people playing high schoolers. It looks like, for the most part, these people look like they could be in high school.
Yeah.
So
That's what I love about this is they finally have, kid Peter Parker
yeah,
in his high school years.
and I loved his best friend Ned, who is basically, if anyone's out there read the Miles Morales Spider-Man, he's pretty much like Genki, Miles' roommate at the school he goes to, and Genki was one of my favorite comic book side characters, and then Ned is in this movie, and he's basically that, and he's
Yeah,
so
like
funny.
if I were to be a movie character, I would be the kind of character that Ned ends up being. Like, and I really
the guy in the chair.
yeah, the guy in the chair,
chair.
exactly. So I connected really well with that. I think he of course everyone like Tom Holland did a great job, but Ned for me stole that movie.
Yeah,
he was
Ned-
so good.
Ned was terrific. The hat.
I
It gives me confidence.
oh gosh.
If you guys like Marvel movies, if you like Spider-Man, this is another movie to go see. Even Marvel finally did a villain that doesn't get disposed of in the end.
Yeah, and in a really like in a way where they made him stick to his character in such a strong way that I really appreciated it. Like he, again, no spoilers, but he ends up doing something in the end where you would expect him to do one thing from like a Marvel movie perspective, but he does the thing that's true to the character instead, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. This to me, this is probably one of the best villains Marvel's done.
Definitely.
Yeah, villains has always been their weak points in
Yeah.
their movies,
One of
and
their best. One of
yeah,
their best.
this is one of their best.
But this makes
He had a clear motive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And this makes sense too in the same with kind of Daredevil and in that kind of sense where Wilson Fisk is still around and kicking. Street level heroes, like their villains go to jail and then they're gonna come out. Because Spider-Man's more of a street level hero typically. Like he's super strong and super popular, but he still does that swing through New York, takes out the robbers, takes out Green Goblin's around, gotta like get rid of him, like puts these punks in jail and then they just like break out. So the fact that spoiler, Vulture isn't dead, which for a Marvel movie, finally,
yeah,
that should be good news to you, not a spoiler.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I like Josh said that the Marvel villains have been like a lower point for most Marvel movies, and Vulture, like I think he's like one of the top villains ever, like close to Loki. I like Loki a lot, but
Loki. The only thing with Loki is he came a bit too much of a
yeah,
everyone likes him.
Yeah.
Put him in something.
Yeah, he
Like-
became a comic relief character when maybe he shouldn't have been.
So I think, but for me, I think Vulture is like the number one villain in the Marvel movie I've seen at least.
Dude,
So
Thanos.
there's Thanos, but he's
he
not
hasn't
there
been in the
yet.
movie yet.
Yeah, he was in Guardians
Oh,
of the
no.
Galaxy.
Post
Well,
credits.
yeah, but
No, that was during the normal film.
what?
When?
Ronan goes and talks to him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But doesn't do anything. He
3
doesn't do
seconds.
anything.
He sits
Sits in a chair.
He's the guy in the chair.
It was dead the whole
never mind.
time.
The whole time.
Yeah, Thanos like kind of grins, peels away the purple mask, and it's Ned.
Oh my gosh.
Tom Holland has been paired up with Thanos the entire time, guys.
It's the real twist.
So for me, I think this movie has a little like special place in my heart because the whole hubbub with Sony and Marvel and like the whole thing about Amazing Spider-Man 2 not doing very well, and then like what's gonna happen to Spider-Man, and then Sony's like, here you go, you can
finally.
share.
Marvel make things right,
Yeah.
and Marvel made things right.
So I was reading stuff about it and about that contract, and I was reading that
that's a weird contract.
that Marvel doesn't get a lick of the box office money. None of it.
Wait, what?
They'd make none of it. And I read it, and it was confirmed and stuff like that.
But-
Marvel gets none, but they make profit off the toys and the DVD and Blu-rays, I believe.
But-
Interesting.
Yeah, but that now Spider-Man gets to be in
Yes.
in Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah,
That's
so the turn.
the fact that you have arguably the biggest name in Marvel ever in this movie, that's going to draw more people in.
Was the Sony logo showed in the pre-show?
Yeah.
It was. Okay.
Yes, it was.
And everyone
Interesting.
used Sony equipment,
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
pretty sure.
Cool.
Yeah, so because the Sony does all the licensing and distribution, and then Marvel, gets the rights to, put them in their movies and use them and stuff like that. And I'm not sure how the contract is going to be eventually, because the plans are to use them in Infinity 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe I've heard stuff about the Homecoming 2 or Spider-Man 2 will restart the next phase of Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's rumors about
MCU.
that.
So
Okay.
I'm not too sure. I don't know how that's going to work, but
Did-
I'm excited.
Did you hear how Tom Holland isn't allowed to read the entire
Yes.
script?
Because he keeps spoiling it on Instagram.
He keeps spoiling things. So when like for Infinity War, when he was acting in it, they're like, "Here's your lines. This is all we're giving you." Like the lines or like one or two lines before where he's actually doing stuff. It's like that's all you get.
I
Because
love it.
he keeps like just saying random things that spoil the movies, and it's like,
He's a
Tom,
kid.
what are you
I
doing?
love it.
Oh,
I love
gosh.
that, and I love that part of.
but
Homecoming.
it's still can't
Yeah,
really do
can't-
that.
Yeah, you can't really
You
do.
can't say like, oh man, the part where, yeah, you're gonna love this movie. Like Cap gets beat up by Thanos, and you think he's dead, but he comes back in the end. Like,
Oh my gosh.
oh, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's no good.
Can't have
definitely
that.
not a good-
The other part with Spider-Man that's kind of confusing. So the Venom movie is a Sony movie, but they're tying it into the Marvel universe somehow.
And is it Tom Hardy?
It's so it's Tom Hardy, but it's so kind of like convoluted how this is
weird.
going on because they're like, yeah, it's in the same universe, but then someone was like, "Oh, but it's not in the same reality." That doesn't make sense then?
I'm worried that's going to be a flop too.
I'm worried too.
As far as I know, Marvel Studios has no hand in it.
Oh, another
so it's going to
funny
be a flop.
news.
No, I'm just kidding.
Funny news though. I've heard rumors of. I think Sony Pictures is making the infamous Emoji movie that we're all going to see. Obviously,
No.
Right? So hold on.
But guys, TJ Miller's in it. You
Yeah.
have to go see it.
No.
So I heard that if Emoji movie does not do good, they might just shut down. I've heard rumors.
Oh, please.
But I mean, it's the Emoji movie. It's gonna suck. Right?
It's gonna
People are
suck.
watch it though.
But are people gonna go
no,
sit in the seats?
That's right. The box office crap. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm going to give that a hard no. I hope it fails. I actually do.
Me too. Me too.
Like, I'm sorry to everybody's going to lose jobs over that, but
It's a giant meme right now.
yeah,
so
whatever. Whoever greenlit that movie, sorry, bud, but
Yeah, poor choice.
Very poor choice.
That's the funny thing too, is lately we've actually kind of come across this a few times in the last few movie goings. Is we go to see a cool movie and it's like, oh, I hope this isn't like the Ultra AVX, like the HD loud sound, and it's like, oh no, something else is in that theater. We have to go see it in a normal theater.
yeah, when we went to see Baby Driver, we expected it to be an AVX, but no, it was Despicable Me 3.
So you
Yeah.
know that when we go see War of the Planet of the Apes, that
It better be.
That's gonna be ultra.
It better
AVX.
be.
It's
no
going to be.
emoji movies got AVX.
Oh no!
If that happens, I'll take a picture of it and I'll. Post it on
if
social
that
media.
happens, I will just fly to my home planet and say, "See you, humanity. You
See
guys,
ya.
you guys have done goofed."
We done.
Wait, what? You're an alien, Ryan? Is this new?
AJ's a robot and I'm the alien.
Oh,
Looks
man.
like it's just you and me, Jordan.
Okay, maybe.
Here's a
I'm-
stick.
I'm the cockroach guy from Men in Black. I'm just wearing someone else's skin.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
pretty gross, Ryan.
Excuse me.
Ryan,
All right.
If you need to change, go to the bathroom. Okay.
Change skins.
So I was thinking about this. We could call this the Part-Time Allies rating system. I don't like rating things normally, but this is how we're gonna rate.
We gave it half a thumbs up. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's a
But-
part time.
Here's how we're gonna do our rating. If you can tell somebody to go see one movie this weekend, what movie is it?
Spider-Man.
Ooh, Baby Driver. Oh, that hurt.
Emoji movie.
It's not playing yet.
Only out of Baby Driver or Spider-Man.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver for me too.
See, here's my quick
hard.
argument. Actually, okay.
Oh.
I was about to say Spider-Man is one you need to see in theaters as opposed to Baby Driver, but Baby Driver it's a good theater movie too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an AVX because Despicable Me 3 was
That's
in
true.
Like
AVX.
really
that's true.
too bad because they played so much with
Way
the
too bad.
audio. Like the
Yeah.
audio was really key to this movie,
Yeah.
and it would have been nice to experience the audio a bit higher quality.
Yeah. Like the reason I vote Baby Driver is because I think it's just like Marvel is really good at making Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I've seen 15 Marvel movies at this point,
Yeah.
right? Where like this one to me felt special. So if you're looking for something different, I say Baby Driver.
Yeah.
My argument is actually it was tough. It's tough. My favorite superhero of all time is Spider-Man, and that movie has a special place in my heart. And I loved it every little bit. But the reason why it's Baby Driver is because it's so beautifully written and woven in together, intertwined with music and film, that it's new and it's special, right? And there'll always be more Spider-Man movies. So you know what
Or
I mean?
more Marvel movies.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
almost like watching a season as opposed to watching a
Yeah,
movie.
and that's why I put Baby Driver, because it's unique and there won't be anything like that.
But
ever
guys, Spider-Man was revived.
again. Trust me.
He was dead and he's alive.
I'm not
again.
saying it
No.
wasn't a feat, but
that
Spider-Man
was
was good
my
too.
Yeah.
favorite Spider-Man movie of all time.
like when people talk about the whole like, oh, our movies art, our video games art, right? Like that discussion.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver was one of those ones that
Yeah.
makes me go like, this
Oh.
was art.
That's cinema.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was for me. And, I was sitting on my seat and smiling the whole time for Spider-Man. And, like I said, it's like my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time.
So I guess what you can take away from this is everyone approved of both of these movies. Three voted that's the one you should go see. But in reality, go see both.
Yeah, in reality, see both of
see
these
both.
movies. They're both great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
And then if there's a triple showing, make sure you check out the Emoji Movie.
No. If you're a Part-Time Allies fan, do not go see the Emoji Movie. Or do. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna shame cinema for trying different things, but
Watch it get like 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's no
Most emotional movie
there's no way.
ever.
Okay.
Oh,
while
no.
we're on the topic of movies and if it will do well or not, you guys kind of bashed a trailer last week.
Yeah, Jumanji. It was terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jordan and
I
I
liked
think
it.
otherwise.
What?
That movie.
Okay.
It has a very
To be
interesting
fair, the
concept.
trailer that was shown in the movie theater was different than the one I've seen.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay, did you guys like the trailer in the
No.
theater?
It was better than the first one I saw, but the first one I saw was terrible.
Here's one of my arguments, though. I don't like those typical like comedy Kevin Hart movies. I want to go see this one.
I will admit some of
Okay,
the punchlines were pretty good.
They're doing something a bit unique here. They're putting different people into different people's bodies. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
like
so-
the whole with the girl and the old professor. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, you have a nerdy guy in the body of The Rock.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
think
so
that was
cool.
So interesting.
I'll send you guys the trailer that I've seen after the show. I'd be interested to hear what you think because I thought that trailer was absolute garbage.
But it, so lots of people too I see are bashing it like, oh, like why are they remaking this? Like this isn't Jumanji. This isn't what Jumanji was. No, it's a reimagining. They're using a franchise that you recognize, but reimagining a new idea. It's a video game. They're going into new bodies and everything.
But did we want it?
yeah, like I'm not a fan of
whether or
reviving
not-
things to revive things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. But whether or not we wanted it, we're getting it, and I'm probably gonna go see it. It looks funny to
I'm
me.
not gonna lie, I might see it.
I'm gonna watch it. Maybe
Jack,
not in
Jack
theaters,
Black
but
is a hot
Yeah.
teenage girl.
yeah.
I
just
mean,
imagine
Who
that.
doesn't
not
want to
theaters.
see that?
I'm treating this the same way I treat Transformers movies. Like it'll
I'm
make
gonna Josh-
money and it'll be like people will go see it.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Let's be honest. This is going to be leagues above Transformers.
yeah, probably.
Ooh.
It reminds me a lot of Tropic Thunder. I think it's gonna be a lot like
Sorta.
that.
Oh,
But
And I like
Tropic
Tropic
Thunder
Thunder.
is
I think it's gonna be a few steps
masterpiece.
below Tropic Thunder. Like,
Plus-
Tropic Thunder
definitely.
was good.
plus,
Jack
It
Black's
was
in it
great.
too, though.
No, I'm not saying I don't like Jack Black.
plus Karen
Kevin Hart.
Gillan, man, she's awesome.
she's
she,
great in Doctor Who, by the way.
I like her in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
That's her, the Matt Smith Doctor who's like the only Doctor Who I've seen.
Yeah, he does good stuff.
That's good stuff.
Cool.
So
Well-
since wait before we move on.
Wait.
Jumanji's a
Move
hot
on.
topic.
All right.
All right,
So there's 4 of us, and there was 4 characters in the
Oh,
Jumanji
no.
movie.
Oh, Jordan.
So which character would you be, Josh?
Can I be the short black guy? Probably Kevin Hart.
you would, yeah, that'd be you.
Probably
me.
Jack Black. I'm just gonna be honest.
Who wants to be the girl? Oh, you gotta fight.
Well, I
Honestly, I feel like the good looking one in the jungle would be Jordan.
So like the girl.
So Jordan's Karen Gillian
Okay.
or
Karen
Jillian.
Gillian.
Karen
All right,
Gillan.
I'll
Gillan?
just change my
And
voice
then
a bit.
Ryan is the Rock.
Ryan's the Rock.
There you go, Ryan.
Yeah,
You got
I
the
think I
muscles.
feel like this fits.
There we go.
Think that fits?
Yeah,
Sweet.
this
That's-
works.
Okay, that works.
I aspire to be the Rock.
So if there's 4 people listening out there in a group,
If you ever wanted to picture what we're like outside of the podcast, there
Yeah.
you go.
But
right
if you
there.
ever see us, you're gonna be like, who are those guys? Because we look nothing like
no,
the Rock or. Well,
I
a
don't
girl.
look.
AJ doesn't look like Kevin Hart.
AJ looks They're twins.
No,
we're twins.
Kevin Hart is AJ's.
Kevin Hart's probably shorter than AJ.
Oh, probably.
Actually, that's true.
Oh no.
So AJ, you're actually gonna shrink if you went into this video game.
Sweet. Don't touch my backpack. Can't put backpack in the water.
Where's the rest of me?
That was a great line. Like, you can't bring a backpack in the water.
Can't do that.
Guys, come on. Why are we crapping on this movie? It looks
That
so
line
good.
was
Yeah.
good.
All right.
There was no good lines in the first trailer. Anyways, okay.
All right. Let's move on.
Let's move on to stories. So I've got a story for you this week.
You do.
Is
I
it
do.
about when you got sucked into a video game into a jungle world?
And became Jack Black?
Fitting.
No, it was not. It was not that story.
Story
no,
time.
this is a story So, okay. Normally in life and in everything that I do, I'm a very planned person. I like to know all the variables before I go into something. I like to know, like, I'm the kind of guy who, if I know something's going to be complicated, I'll show up like 4 hours ahead of time and pre-plan, and you know, I want to be first try, get it done, kind of thing. So when games like Minecraft came out, like before I even started playing, I went and looked at all of the recipes and like printed them off, so like I knew how to do everything, right? Like I'm that kind of guy. As sad as that might be. But there was one video game I've played where I didn't do that. And that game is called Space Engineers. If anybody's heard of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so Space Engineers is kind of like Minecraft, where it's a block placing game, but you're making spaceships, and it's actually quite complex. And a friend of mine and listener to the show, Phil. Hi, Phil, by the way.
Hi, Phil.
I'm imaginary waving to you.
Hi, Phil.
Phil and I decided that we were going to... Oh, also, and friend of the show, Ben, I think, as well.
Yeah.
We all played at the same time. And we purposely didn't look anything up. And, like, this is a complicated game that has a lot of complicated mechanics. And we loaded into a scenario where we were in a derelict ship that had velocity, so it was flying through space, but none of the power worked. Or no, maybe some of the power worked, but things were broken. I don't know. Anyways, we couldn't figure out either way how to stop this ship, and it's going straight at an asteroid. And so Phil and I are running around this ship going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We have no clue. Like, we could stop this ship in retrospect, but none of us knew the controls. We didn't know how to fly it. And we smacked this asteroid, and our ship blew up. And so the ship blew up into chunks, and because this is kind of like a block-based game, like the ship blew into a few different pieces. But the pieces were still floating around. And we didn't know how to build a ship to get off this asteroid. So what we ended up doing was taking pieces of the ship and welding them to the asteroid, and then we made like a base inside the crater that we destroyed with our ship. And yeah, it was a great example of emergent gameplay that like is normally an experience I don't get anymore. Like I had it a little bit in Minecraft. I remember when I first started learning Redstone, which like I spend a lot of time programming, so for me Redstone kind of clicks in that same way. It's a lot of logic and like making AND gates and OR gates and stuff, and like making cool things. And so this led me to an organic experience of, well, we don't know what to do now. And so we made this platform, and there's an inventory you can go into to try and create items, right? And one of the items we made was, or you need to make when you're making a platform, is a gravity generator, so you can all sit on the platform and do stuff. But there's two kinds of gravity generators. There's circular ones and flat ones. We didn't know the difference, so we made a circular one and put it on our platform. But what it ended up doing, and we've also been mining around at the same time. So what it did, we turned it on at full power. It sucked me and Phil to the to the thing, and we're on opposite sides of this like little sphere, and all of the mining rocks that we had going around us all got affected by gravity and just whoop, and killed us. Just slaughtered us. And we were just sitting there laughing so hard. Like, it was an experience I've never really had in a game before. But you know what? Space Engineers has led to a lot of cool things. Like, did you ever play with us, AJ?
No.
So we would make a whole bunch of cool stuff. And two quick stories I want to talk about. One was I made this modular ship. So it had connectors on all sides of it, and you can drive it in to connect to things, right? So I would make mechs, and like I had like a mech loading station.
Oh, that's cool.
So I would like fly my little ship into here, and then it would, like, these pistons would go out and put the arms on, and like these other pistons would go up and put the legs on, and like put like a jetpack on it. But the physics of the game were really wonky. So when the pistons would go, the whole rig would start shaking, and then when the arms locked in, like there was a 50% chance the whole thing would blow up, and then we just reset the server because like I spent 10 hours making the thing. Like I couldn't deal with it.
A masterpiece.
My masterpiece. But the most fun we had in that game was we would make these ships that had these big magnetic connectors on the bottom, and we got bored with mining because the way you build things in this game is you mine material and you make blocks or whatever. And so there would be these antagonistic ships that would fly by. So what we would do is we would get me, Ben, and Phil, and we would get in these little ships and go and shoot all the guns off of these big ships so they couldn't attack us. And then we would fly up to them, disable their power, and then lock all of our ships onto this ship and turn on our gyroscopes, which try and stop the ship. But the way the physics would work, it would just start spinning really fast and like, oh my goodness. Anyways, yeah, I I had a great time with that game of just like emergent gameplay experiences. So what I wanted to ask you guys is, do you have any games that you have that emergent play experience that it's not set in the rules, but you kind of just made your own game around it?
Yeah. Well, going to Minecraft, I felt there was very much this like you build your base, you go kill people, you make cool like redstone things. I was very much in the like architecture kind of like I want to make cool buildings, and I had this castle style, like a way, like my own way of making a castle. And in every map I would play, I would make this massive castle, and it hopefully in creative mode where I didn't have to mine for all the tools and stuff. But yeah, I would just make this thing every time, every map, and each time later on, I'd go bigger and bigger and bigger with it, and it was just something I did every time. But I was so happy to just do it, and it looked awesome, and I loved it. I love my castle.
Right on. What are you, AJ?
It's hard to think about now, but
I've got one if you want to think of it.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. I don't know if you guys all have played this. I know AJ has, but Gary's Mod.
Yeah, I've dabbled.
All right. So Gary's Mod is a very fun. Well, it's not really a game. It's more of a sandbox, and you're able to pretty well do anything you want.
Yeah.
And I remember the very first thing that everyone would always build in there would be a bathtub car.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Isn't that like the tutorial? Is the bathtub car?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the bathtub.
But you'd
car is
always
cool.
end up building some sort of vehicle right when you
Yeah,
first start,
like
and then
plane.
after that, then you just kind of like
Start making planes that fly with
Yeah.
stupid thrusters and
The farthest I
the
ever got was a
thrusters.
trebuchet.
the
But like I
trebuchet.
couldn't get it to wind up properly, so I just lined the whole backside with thrusters and it would hit the button. And it was like, whoosh.
Uh,
It was
I
fun.
spent a lot of time in Gmod. I did a lot
Yeah,
of
we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a lot of filmmaking in Gmod too. I remember that was a lot
Oh.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Back
it's
when we
hard
didn't
because
have,
it's like frame by frame and
filmmaker. Back
yeah,
when we didn't have
yeah,
that.
You didn't have Source Filmmaker. Source Filmmaker is a great tool to use to make movies now.
Yeah.
But Gmod was the original,
The OG.
the OG.
And that was an immersive experience for you.
Emergent.
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 Ah.
Immersive is like VR.
Mm.
Emergent is like, this wasn't planned, but it happened, and that was cool.
Well, Minecraft, we had our own server for a little while.
Yep.
Didn't we?
What was it called?
Whackcraft.
Oh yeah, Whackcraft. That's right.
Oh, you guys were Whackcraft?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were pretty big, you know what I mean?
I definitely played on that server, and I don't
Yep.
think I knew it was you guys.
It was
that's
us.
funny.
Me and
There,
Jordan.
there was one
Wow.
guy that really, really liked it, and he played it like all the time.
Yeah.
Was it Dylan?
I don't remember what his name was.
But there was this one guy that
We had
just
a lot of people on our server.
we did. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like the official server for this place. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
we had like 20, 30 people in there.
Wow, I had no clue that was you guys.
It's us. It was us, and we
That's
had
funny.
our own separate server.
Because that would have been long before I ever met you, Jordan.
probably,
Wow.
probably. But
That's-
yeah, that
that's
was
cool.
probably one of the most
Yeah. And then there was
Amazing.
Chili Row too, but that was before
something long time.
Chili
ago.
Row was Ragnarok.
I talked a little bit about Ragnarok. It was an MMO.
Yeah.
So a little bit
Cool.
of that.
This kind of, well, I remembered one more Space Engineers story. So Space Engineers had a maximum speed you could go, right? And so we like coined it light speed. So we made this ship that had, it would, I found kind of like a not tutorial, but like schematics for it online. And it had all of these gravity generators, but they all pointed forward instead of down. And then you could turn the gravity generators on, but they wouldn't do anything. So they also made these mass blocks that you could hook into the ship. So if you turn the gravity on and then turn the mass on, and you had enough of them, the plan was that it would just go from 0 to instant speed forward, right? So, okay, that sounds cool. Like, we want to be able to go fast in this game. But what we didn't know was the mass of the ship needs to be exactly in the center of your gravity generator, otherwise it won't go straight. So we had parked it on top of an asteroid, like above an asteroid, and then hit the switch for the first time, and it just went. So you're not going to be able to see this, listeners, but it just went whoop, boom right into the asteroid. Like, it did like a perfect instant U-turn and just smashed itself into the
no.
asteroid. Oh gosh, there was a lot of fun to be had in that game.
How many hours do you think you have?
Probably 200.
Oh, wow. Fun.
Yeah.
I've heard lots of stories between like you and Phil about this game, and this was before I had Steam. I'm like, I wish I could play with you guys in this. This sounds so fun.
Yeah. It was like whatever you thought you could make, you could pretty much make it. It was cool.
Did you ever play Kerbal Space Program?
No,
No?
it's on sale right now, and I kind of want to pick it up.
Yeah.
but
You should. If you liked that game, you should definitely try it.
I do like space, although Space Engineers didn't have any of the orbital mechanics, so I'd have to learn all that stuff. But
Hey guys, let's all get into Space Engineers again, or for the first time for some of us.
I'm in.
I don't even have
Really?
Space Engineers.
Neither do I.
I don't
I'll
have
install it
either.
tonight. It's probably on sale.
Let's do
Wait,
it.
is it?
It's
this
probably
might-
not much
This
either.
might be breaking my rule here. I don't buy.
Oh yeah, it might be. It might be
Is it
beta.
Still?
Still?
Yep.
For
It could
how
be.
long?
I'll check it out.
Wow.
Okay.
We'll check it out after the show.
Oh, check it out.
The only game, I think the last game that I bought that was in alpha or beta stage was Darkest Dungeon, and that one actually did come for a release. There's so many games that never actually get released. Like I think Starbound's still in alpha or beta. I don't even know.
No, it got
It's-
released. It got released.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Finally.
Finally.
Yeah, Space Engineers has come a long way, but the only problem with it is when you get to anything too complex, it's not stable. Like if you try to do some of the funky things we would do, things just explode. So,
Like Gmod.
like Gmod, yeah. All right, so Ryan, can you talk to us about what Something is Something is today?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Something is Something today is the scariest game you've played. Originally, I was going to make this question but it was too specific. I was going to make it the scariest non-scary game. So a game you
interesting.
didn't know was
Ooh.
what that
That's
was
a
scary.
Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, but it's
That's real specific,
it's
though.
very
Real quick,
specific.
Yeah.
Though on that, Shadow Colossus.
That scared you?
Yeah, it did.
Scary in terms of atmosphere, yeah.
Because
I don't know what happens.
It's like a fear of the unknown.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there's nothing else in that vacant land but those big bosses, and that's it. There's nothing else.
Luigi's Mansion would be mine. Like when I was a kid, I remember there's a game has a lot of boss fights. I remember walking to a boss fight with a granny and saw like the granny rocking in her chair, and I'm like, nope, turn the GameCube off. Like I'm done. Thanks though.
I think that was in the first BioShock. There's like a lady with rolling a baby carriage, and she's like freaking out. And my friend handed me the controller. He's like, "Here, you can play." And I like start walking, and she starts freaking out to the baby. I'm like, "Nope, hand the controller." I'm like, "See ya."
I remember when BioShock 1 had a demo, and the demo involved going to the lighthouse and then going down into Rapture, and you got to spend a little bit of time in Rapture, and that was it.
okay.
Every time the lighthouse doors would open, me and my friend would just turn the console off. I was like, we're not dealing with this.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Let's get back
Yeah,
Yeah,
back
back
to it.
to it.
Jordan, what's your scary game?
Oh wow. Okay, these games are.
Wait, do you
are
wanna start
actually
with
gonna
your
be
name?
these ones are actually going to
Ooh.
be pretty scary.
Yeah, no, these. The actual Something is Something is like scariest game ever
That you've played.
that you've played.
that I've
that you've
played.
played.
all personal opinion.
Okay,
Of course.
There's two that I've played that are pretty scary.
And tell us why.
I'd have to say Dead Space isn't my number one, but it's definitely number 2 for scariest games. Normally, I'm pretty good with scary games, and I could play them through without actually putting them down. But Dead Space was one of those games where they're able to set the scene and set the mood so that it was very unpredictable when they were going to scare you. And they didn't scare you all the time. There's some games like what's that pig game? I forget what it's called.
Oh, Amnesia.
Amnesia. Yeah, that game, it was very scary at the beginning, but then as you played it and you got more accustomed to the monsters, you're like, whatever. But with Dead Space, they were able to not scare you all the time, just scare you at certain moments, and it was very unpredictable, and that's what made it a very scary game. And there was a lot of times where I'd get to a save point, I'm like, okay, my heart can't handle any more of this. I'm going to have to put it down right now. And it was a lot of fun. It definitely brings your adrenaline up. And the number one spot for me is Outlast. Now, I really want to get Outlast 2. It was on sale. I didn't pick it up, but I'll pick it up again. And Outlast was great. How you started off is you start off with a video camera, and in the dark you get that green glow, and it's a good way of representing, instead of using a flashlight, like most games will use a flashlight for the dark, but using a video camera. It's been in other games as well, but they do a really good job in Outlast with that, and it definitely makes it a lot scarier having to see everything through the eyes of a video camera. and the characters were very, very spooky in this game.
I watched you play it. Actually,
And you watched me play it, and
I watched you play. He screen shared and he muted me.
Is this the one that I was watching too?
No,
Oh,
that was the
no, that was
scary too.
that was
Yeah.
another scary one. There was a few moments. Actually, there was, what was it called? Layer of Fear.
Yeah,
It was called Layer of Fear.
the painting one.
Oh man, there was one
That was
scene
creepy.
that was really freaky. There, you're looking at this painting on the wall, and then all the doors close around you, and it's a painting of plentiful fruit, like if you imagine like a banquet of fruit, and all of a sudden, all these rotten fruits are like shooting out of the the picture, and the room is just filling up with rotten food, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And then everything's just like flying around, and it was pretty crazy. But if you wanna be scared, play any of the Dead Space games and Outlast.
All right, Josh, what is your scariest game?
Yeah, so my scariest game, well, I guess I'll do my runner-up first. And this was probably only scary because I was a kid, but not sure. Anyways, it's Silent Hill, either 3 or 4, The Room.
Those are scary.
Yeah, that game did some bad things to my sleeping patterns when I played that game. Yeah, that was the one where you were in a hotel, and then the reason that game really got me was, like, yeah, it's a horror game, but the enemies in the game didn't die. Like, when you would shoot them, they would get back up, which became, like, I don't know what it was about that, but that really freaked me out. And the other thing about that is, like, kind of in that staying not safe theme, your room, when you came back to it later in the game, became haunted, and, like, if you went to certain parts of the room, it would hurt you, and it's like, well, now even my safe space isn't safe anymore. Like,
Yeah.
gosh. But yeah, that game was nuts. But no, the scariest game I've ever played isn't even really a game. It's a demo for a game that didn't come out. And that is PT.
That was mine, by the way.
I knew it was going to be either yours or yours. I want to get it out.
Oh man,
It was
Is it
mine,
yours too? Okay. Well,
Want to know why it's mine?
why?
Because I played for 5 minutes and I was like crying. I could not. I threw the controller to someone else. I couldn't do it.
It's so realistic.
Could not do it.
But yeah, that's kind of where I was going to come back and tie the Hideo Kojima stuff in, because when he was done with the Metal Gear series, and the reason he's working with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro was he was going to make a horror game, which was going to be a reboot of Silent Hill called Silent Hills, which is what PT was a teaser for. But we all know that didn't work
I
out.
love the way they executed it because they didn't say what it was.
Yeah, they didn't tell you what it was. The reward for beating it, which was, by the way, the most esoteric thing in
Yeah,
the
it was really
world,
cool. Really cool.
was a teaser trailer for Silent Hills,
Yeah.
starring Norman Reedus. But yeah, I mean, if it's all of our, if it's mine, AJ's, and Ryan's, then I guess we can kind of just talk about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think one of the I didn't actually play for only 5 minutes, but I was playing for a bit, and I think I got to the point where you first see the chick.
The thing that made me turn it off the first time was when I peeked in the bathroom door.
Oh yeah, that's what.
And her eyes show up, and she closes the door. I'm like, nope, controller on the ground. And this wasn't like, because this is pretty new. This was like a year ago.
Yeah.
I was just noped out of that so hard.
Yeah. It was that didn't get me. What got me was when I looked in the sink or whatever, and there's like the baby in there. I'm like, oh, okay. I look up in the mirror, and she's in the mirror behind me. Oh my goodness. I wanted to cry. It felt like it feels so real, and I felt like I was there. I'm like, no, and I wanted to run out, but then you die.
The
Yeah.
graphics in that game are really good.
Yeah, there was a graphic fidelity there that I've
Something
never
about it.
seen. It's probably because it's such a small scope, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the same L-shaped hallway. So the conceit for PT is you go into a hallway, it's 11:59 at night or whatever,
Yeah,
and
no, it's coming back.
there's a little bit of stuff on the ground, you hear a radio kind of buzzing, but like the hallway looks kind of neat or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
L-shaped, so you walk in the hallway,
Nice and bright.
you come to the end, you turn right, the hallway, you see the hallway go again, there's a door at the end of the hallway, and all you can do is just walk through that door. But the trick is when you walk through that door, you come back out the door you started in. So
Yeah.
it's an infinite loop in this L-shaped hallway. But every time you go through that door, things change just a little bit, right? You see, oh, the wallpaper is starting to get a little grungy, or like, oh, the radio's playing something different, or like, oh, like this door is cracked open a little bit.
But it's still 11:59.
It's still 11:59, and you. I remember the first time you see that door cracked open, and it doesn't tell you any of the controls, but when you look at the door, it tells you the first control it's ever told you in the whole game, which is click R3 to zoom, and
Yep.
you go, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice of them." Zoom into the crack of the door, and oh boy, yeah.
I'm literally sitting here freaking out thinking about this
What
game.
what got me for that was I think it was like the fourth loop, but you start noticing little tiny things, and then it's that corner. It's that one corner. You finally you go through the loop again, and you go through the hallway just a little bit, and you turn the corner, and there is someone standing right there, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
What the heck? And
Hanging out.
She's just standing there, and not facing you. And I think that the initial turn, because you're not really I guess you're expecting stuff, but like not that close. And the only way through is going forward. So you have to push. There's no other way. You have to go forward, and she disappears when you get to a certain point. But that got me really hard.
Isn't because there's a window, like when you first walk in, there's like a window at the end of the hallway.
Yep.
Isn't there a point where you're like walking and she like quickly like looks by in the window and then
Yeah, you can totally miss it though. Like so I never saw that through my playthrough of PT, but I've seen videos of it happening and going, "Oh, I'm glad I never saw that."
yeah, because that happens pretty early, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because that was when I was ready to throw the controller.
So I want to talk about like how people actually like beat that game.
Yeah. So I don't remember all of the steps, but this was so.
It's very convoluted and strange.
I like weird stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So this was something that I said to myself, like, I'm going to beat this. So I read the guide after initially it was found out how to be beat to do it, and it involved.
You can
After
remember.
you have to
collect clues and
you have
phone
to collect the
calls
clues.
and
You have
look
to
at
click the
pictures.
phone. Then you have to put your controller on a bus to Arkansas, and then you have to harvest a month's worth of corn. And once you've done that, you can consider beating the game.
Yeah, there's a section where you have to. So eventually, the fetus shows up in the sink, because that's a sentence I wanted to say today, and it talks to you or something. And then the pictures show up, so you can go and start finding the scraps of pictures around. But the trick is when you're doing the loops to find the pictures, I actually just looked over my shoulder and got scared because the fan.
Me too.
Anyways, oh gosh, I hate this game. But the problem is when you're collecting the pictures, the ghost lady will sometimes show up, and so sometimes you just have to like turn around and not look at her and wait for a few minutes for her to go away because you can't progress anymore. And then I don't remember the exact order of events, but at some point you get into the red hallway, which is the same hallway except it kind of goes. It's really long and kind of shaky, and you move really quickly. Then you have to peek through a hole at some point and you see something. And then the phone part, which I never really got, but from what I understand, you have to have a microphone plugged in, and you have to talk to the phone.
Yeah.
You have to tell it like, oh, I can't remember what it was.
Can't remember what it was. It was something, but I think you could just mutter to it, but it'll work.
I think
Yeah.
it was like, who ate my banana or something.
Nah.
Wait, my banana. Yeah, it didn't. I don't think it ended up mattering what you said, but as long as it like met the same vocal frequency or whatever. And then
There was one
you
where
would
you
pick
have
up
to open
the
the
phone.
menu.
Oh gosh, yeah, the menu. Oh yeah, no,
and
there was
turn
that
up the brightness.
there was that screen that would flash, and like everybody was getting different screens when they were initially trying to figure it out, and nobody really knew what was going. Oh man,
The genius, like, how did people figure this out?
like when people ask me, like, why do you like Hideo Kojima so much? That stuff, that right there.
Like
is
the
why Kojima
first
is a
person
boss.
to like figure. Like, can you imagine stepping in the shoes of the first person who beat that game, and figuring everything out, and you know what I mean, and then getting that trailer at the end?
So what I loved about this was whenever you see this a lot in media of like these puzzles, like Overwatch is hilarious for this. We're like, nobody will figure this out for weeks when we put out the Sombra puzzle, and then it's figured out in like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Community.
Yeah, community engagement. This was one of those things where Kojima was like, oh yeah, it'll take people weeks to figure this out, and it actually took people weeks to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Very cool, but just like imagine the first person who beat
Yeah.
that game, and then it was like, holy crap,
Yeah.
this is a Silent Hill game.
And then it got canceled.
And then I got canceled, which
And
sucked.
it's PT is also currently not available anymore.
No,
isn't
it's
it?
gone.
Yep, I have it downloaded on my console. I'll never play it again.
You
But
can
it sits
maybe-
there.
Maybe you can sell that console like,
For a bunch of
later
money.
for a lot of money.
Yeah,
I'm sure people would buy it.
Yeah.
That's like what happened with Flappy Birds when that guy
Yeah.
canceled Flappy Birds.
Let's not talk about that.
I remember Flappy Birds.
Anyways, yeah. So, dude, AJ or Ryan, did you guys
I
want to
mean-
do follow like a runner up?
I mean, Silent Hill always had something about hopelessness and the fear of just being alone, and it's just a nightmare. Like a terror. Like it's terrifying. It's a living nightmare that you're in. So Silent Hill was, I would say, it's pretty close. Like it's almost, because I never played those games because I figured like I don't play horror games. So, I mean, I would never play. I don't like playing horror games. But like, yeah, the only horror game I've ever played was PT. So that's why, because I played it.
Ryan, did you have any?
It was mostly just kind of situational points in games. Like the rest of the game might not have been scary per se, but I know with with Dying Light, the very first you're playing the game for a bit, but you never encounter a nighttime part of the game until you get to that certain mission where it introduces the day-night cycle. And that first night cycle is scary because you have to go out and it's like, oh, go get these supplies. You're like, okay. And all of a sudden you see the sun setting. You're like, after you get the supplies, it's like, oh, this is new. And you gather up the supplies and then they're like, it's getting dark. You have to get back. And it's like, why? Because there's the night zombies that are out now. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm like, I gather my stuff and I'm casually like, kind of walking through the town back to base. I turn the corner and look, and there's this like weird white infected zombie. It's like with like its ribs poking out of its chest, and it just like screams and starts sprinting. And I freaked out. I start sprinting all like as fast as I can, and it was such a panic to get back to the base. And then after that, like you can kind of cheese these guys to kill them. It's pretty funny, but that first encounter with them scared the crap out of me.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about some tacos.
Tacos.
I am getting hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ, what are our tacos for that today?
I believe it was. You know what? I don't remember.
You guys asked it last time.
Our tacos for thought are, how did you get into video games?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get into video games?
How did I get into video games?
Yeah.
We also have a sub note here. What are some of your favorite first video games? Which is interesting. I'll start.
Sure.
So I didn't have consoles or anything video game related before, like my cousins did. Or I also remember specifically some friends of my cousins had. So friends of my cousins had an SNES, and my cousins had a classic NES and an N64. So we played a lot of Duck Hunt, a lot of Track and Field on the original NES. So Duck Hunt was probably my first game, and the original Mario, of course. But my favorite kind of first game was the original Paper Mario for N64.
Ooh.
I had a lot of fun. I remember childhood me had a lot of fun getting lost in the ghost forest in that game. But yeah, that's mine. What about you, AJ?
Started? Well, I think there's someone sitting in this room that started me on the path of video games, I believe. And that's
Oh.
Jordane. We grew up
Wait,
together.
it's not me?
No.
Oh.
I met you like 4 years ago.
AJ, we've known each other since birth.
Oh, no. No, I actually knew Jordane since birth. And he kind of set me on that path of video games. I believe you just had a Game Boy, I believe, and I kind of just wanted that as well. You know how you just kind of, as a kid, you just kind of soak in everything and, take everything what your peers do. So I think I slowly started to get a Game Boy, and I think my first game ever was it's either Pokemon Yellow or Pokemon Red
It was
or
definitely one of the Pokemon games.
Super Mario. But I mean that's kind of what got me into gaming. But what I remember mostly was the pivotal games through the timeline that really solidified me of being a gamer. And I can kind of point those games out like Super Mario, and then there's the Pokemon games, and then what I remember very fondly was playing Gauntlet Legends on the N64 with Jordan and
Oh, yeah, that
a
was
couple
lot of
pals,
fun.
and we always played that game. It's like an arcade game, RPG, hack and slash sort of. You kind of go through these chapters, and you have it's like 4-player co-op, and you can just play through the game. And I remember fondly playing those games, and I remember playing some MMOs back in the day. You know, Tibia, like I've talked about last week, and I talked a little bit about Ragnarok and how I spent like a lot of my life just playing that. And those are like some very like pivotal games that I remember just solidifying. Yeah, I'm a gamer. And like another one that Janae showed me was Monster Hunter, like the very original PS2 Monster Hunter. Like I remember just
We were
seeing
playing
that game.
the demo.
Yeah, we played,
the
the
demo like crazy.
and I remember like, man, this is exactly what I wanted in a game. And then also Final Fantasy X. That was like the very first Final Fantasy I've ever played. I didn't know what Final Fantasy was, and so that's why I think it's like my favorite Final Fantasy, because I guess it's nostalgia, but it's because like the first Final Fantasy game I ever started on. But what started on to me like with games was obviously just the Game Boy Color and this guy over here, the one who just kind of started me on that path. And yeah,
Cool.
So then, Jordan, how did you get into games?
good question.
It's a tough question.
It is
I don't know. I think I just kind of, when I was young, I always fiddled around with computers. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I remember like tinkering around with a computer because I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And I remember going into MS-DOS, and I played those old games where you actually had to actually write a query to play a game.
Oh boy.
Yep, yeah, you had the floppy disk. I don't know how many listeners would actually know what a floppy disk is.
Oh, I've played floppy disk games.
Oh, you've played floppy disk games
Yeah.
too. There you go. But if you're curious, if you ever go into any program and you notice beside the save button, there's like a square picture there, and if you're ever wondering what that is, that's a floppy disk.
Yep.
So in like 10 years down the road, when nobody knows what a floppy is, and you look at the save disk, and you're like, why is that the save image? It doesn't make any sense. Well, now you know it's the floppy disk. But one of the very first floppy games that I played was Chip's Challenge,
Oh my goodness.
or
Chips Challenge.
yeah, Chip Challenge. That was actually quite a bit of fun. I remember
was
liking
fun.
that a lot.
Is this related to Chip and Dale at all?
No.
No,
Okay.
I hope not.
Well, hey, an old Disney game? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
it was a.
The dude.
It was a little dude that didn't really have that much animation, and you're just like moving from square to square, figuring out puzzles. You got like ice skates, fire boots.
Yeah.
It was really cool. You're this character called Chip, and he was this. He was like kind of like this, I guess, electrical circuit kind of dude. He had like a yellow helmet and a purple shirt and green pants, and you're making your way through collecting like memory and stuff, and just trying to find the exit and doing it as fast as possible. And I remember getting frustrated with that game a lot, and I decided to move to another game. That was I think it was called Commander Keen. And that was another guy who wore a yellow helmet and a purple shirt. It must have been the theme of the 90s, because every character. Yeah, there you go. That's Chip's Challenge. You guys can't see it, but if you do Google search, you'll be able to see what it looks like.
Goodness.
But Commander Keen was pretty cool because he actually got to shoot aliens. And there was another game that I really, really enjoyed. It was for the SNES. This was a few years later down the road. But I've already mentioned I played a lot of Mega Man. Mega Man was definitely one of the games that I grew up with the most. But there was this one game, Earthworm Jim.
Oh.
That game was really good. It was. I remember pulling out you pulled out Earthworm Jim from his spacesuit, and I watched the show when I was a kid too. And you're just like whipping people with it. I'm like, oh, this is so creative. I love it. And it was a lot of fun. And it reminded me a lot of the Lion King game for SNES too. It was very similar.
It was a platformer game, right?
It was a platformer game. But yeah, there was a lot of old games that I can't remember the names to all of them, but I remember enjoying quite a bit of them. I don't know what really got me into games. I think it was more just the curiosity of how computers work, and then once I figured out how it worked, I decided to fool around in it, and I found games and just went from there.
Yeah.
Right on. What about you, Ryan?
What got me into games, mostly just kind of friends who had some form of console or something like a Super Nintendo. We had some family friends who had a Super Nintendo, and I'd go over all the time, and we would play so much Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario World. So going off, what are your first favorite games? Super Mario World was probably one of them. But then when it came to playing at my house, we had an old PC with like floppy disks and everything. And I just looked up pictures here because I forgot what the game was called, but I found it. It was called Jill of the Jungle.
Jill of the Jungle.
I think I've played this one.
Yeah?
I think so.
I'm looking at pictures, and my brain is going nuts right now remembering this game. Yeah, Jill of the Jungle is this weird platforming game that you got on floppy disk, I guess, somehow. And, yeah, I played that a lot. And then kind of going into more how I got consoles and stuff, I don't think it was until middle school when I finally got a GameCube. And then, yeah, the GameCube, played that a lot. Then we got a Wii. And I finally saved up enough of my own money to get an Xbox 360. And that's kind of when I really got into games, I'd say. Because I had my own money now. Like, I do work for, like, you make money from your grandparents and stuff, like doing chores and all that and whatever. And then you finally get your first part-time job and everything, so you're making money, you can buy video games and all that. And that was when I first truly started trying new games and becoming a quote-unquote gamer. So yeah, that was me.
Cool. Yeah, it kind of reminded me. I think my very first console was one of the original Game Boys, actually. And the only game we had for it was Super Mario and the 8 Golden Coins or something like that. And that was a weird game. But, yeah, it was fun.
Strange. But I want to know, if you're listening, how did you started into gaming?
How did you get into gaming?
If you play games.
You can email us at
parttimealliesmail@gmail.com.
Thanks, AJ. Also, if you don't like email, if that's a little old-fashioned for you and you want to tweet at us, you can do that at
Part-Time Allies.
Yeah, just at Part-Time Allies. So, right on. Or if you watch on YouTube, throw it in the comments. One of us will find it.
Yeah, one of us.
And we'll talk about it on the show.
We'll talk about it.
Speaking of emails, let's talk about some audience emails. So, I got one here. It's from Tony. And so Tony wrote in about 10 minutes after we filmed the last episode. So you just missed the deadline there, Tony. But we'll talk about it anyways. Hey, guys.
Hey.
He
Tony.
was talking about, so yeah, last time Tony wrote in, he was talking about Crash Bandicoot, and he says that he had a lot of quality time playing Crash with his dad. I did too. That was one of our first video games together, me and my dad, so that's cool. He was wondering if we were thinking about taking on any guests.
No.
So
We don't want it.
if you listened to the last episode, you would know that we had David on as a guest. David also, we totally forgot to mention last episode, but David has a YouTube channel. It is called Filthy Canadian, and he does Let's Plays and gameplay videos and things like that. He's definitely a different tone than what we are. We try to be safe for work. I don't think his content is safe for work, but if you are into that sort of stuff and want to see some gameplays from David, take a head on over there.
Check it out.
Check it out. So thanks, Tony. I appreciate you writing in. Next email we have is from Christina. Or Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Long-time listener.
Long-time listener, Chrissy. 7 years.
Long-time listener, part-time ally.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey.
That's a good one.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. So Chrissy says, hey guys, here's some of my comments on episode 4. I liked the mix-up with a special guest, and I'm glad you guys still did the podcast. But I missed the chatter from the 4 of you.
I know.
Aw.
We're
So
too lovable.
I missed the chatter too, guys. So glad to have you back.
All the witty banter.
But
And
that's-
talk about Jumanji.
But that's no gripe against David, who did great and fit in very well. and she likes the theme of part-time ally.
I would be interested to have David back at some point.
Yeah, I think this
I would like to meet him.
this gets into a little bit of like the nitty-gritty, but I feel like 4 is a really good number for a podcast. But we could do 5 in here. So if we ever wanted to have David back for a special, maybe I would be interested to have David back after him and Jourdain have beaten Nier. I would.
Did he
Oh,
just
that'd be
get
cool.
it too?
Yeah, David's almost at the exact same part you are
Okay,
right
yeah.
now. So that would be cool. Speaking of Nier, she was commenting about Nier and how she hadn't heard about it until we just talked about it. She says, and I must say 2B is so cute. I love the
Yeah, she
dystopian
is.
feel to the game, although she'd probably suck at it because fighting games are, or she's not good at fighting games.
Hey,
I wouldn't
I-
really call it a fighting game. It's more of like an action
I'd call it a hack
Game.
and slash.
Action
hack and
RPG.
slash. Yeah, it is difficult.
It depends. Like if you go from easy is pretty easy. I haven't played on easy, but I'm assuming it'd be pretty easy. Normal was pretty hard for the first level for me. I did try it on hard, but I kept dying. So then I
Yeah,
switched
hard-
it to normal. Hard at the very beginning is really hard because you have to do a lot before you actually get to a save point.
Yeah.
And I actually just switched it back from normal to hard as I was playing it today. But it's I feel like the way that you fight is a lot different with the different difficulties that you choose.
Oh,
to.
interesting. Yeah, you're probably much more defensive on hard because you'll
Yeah.
die so fast.
Yeah,
So
and you change your settings too. It's really interesting how the settings really affect your gameplay too. Like on normal, you're able to have lock on, but on hard mode, there's no lock on. So it's really interesting having that not being able to do that.
So was it an action game?
Yeah,
Fighting
it's
game?
definitely an action.
I wouldn't
game.
say I wouldn't call it a fighting game. To me is like Street Fighter.
Yeah, or like
Sure.
For Honor.
Yeah, or fight. Yeah,
Super
or-
Smash Bros.
You'll be fine at it.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
She asks, "Have we seen Wonder Woman?"
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did we not
We-
talk about Wonder Woman?
No,
No.
we saw it all together, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
I think the general consensus was great movie. The ending was not well done.
Yeah.
The-
I think general consensus is Gal Gadot is amazing.
yeah, she did a
Yeah.
great job.
Oh my goodness.
And I,
Radiant.
and I think the best DC movie we've had
oh,
is
definitely.
Although I am an
Woman Power.
I'm an extended version Superman v Batman apologist. It's actually pretty good, but it's also 3 hours
Yeah.
long.
I did enjoy it as well,
But,
it was good. But I still think Wonder Woman was better.
So good.
to
So
each
good.
their own. She also says her favorite superhero movie was Ant-Man, which is interesting
Oh.
because you don't hear that a lot.
Ant-Man was a good movie.
I really enjoyed Ant-Man.
loved
Okay,
Ant-Man.
wait. While we're on it, what was your guys' favorite superhero movie?
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Iron Man 1.
Whoa, that's bold. Yeah, I could see that for you.
Is this
Iron Man
Marvel?
was really good though. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't have to be, but it looks like Marvel makes the best so far.
I like
Oh.
Batman.
Oh, Dark Knight. Yeah, the last Dark Knight film was good.
Gosh.
yeah.
Or no, the Joker one. Sorry, the Joker one. My bad. The second one.
Still saying
I liked
Spider-Man.
all three. I like the trilogy.
As a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
AJ, did you change your mind?
Mm,
Oh no, what's it gonna
I
be?
don't know. It's hard to say. I'll just say I'll stick with it.
Stick with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say mine is Deadpool.
Oh,
day,
yeah,
every
Deadpool
day.
was good.
That's good.
Deadpool was good.
And
It's
Logan.
hard.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna say like
Oh, I haven't
I'll
seen
tell you
Logan
this
yet.
much. It's hard.
Logan.
It's hard. It's really hard.
She comments, "Last of Us voice acting was phenomenal, but she's never played the game." We talked about Last of Us last week a little bit.
Yeah.
But she's watched the whole game and a playthrough of The Last of Us, and yeah, the voice actors were incredible.
She also says the new Jumanji looks like poop, and
Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that I disagree.
I was gonna skip that.
I needed to make a point of it.
Wait, did she just email in, or did you talk about Jumanji last time too?
We did last
We
time.
did.
Yeah.
We've
Oh,
we've
did
gone
you?
over a little bit of the same
Yeah,
stuff.
they,
that's
they,
okay.
they pooped on it. That's why I came here to correct the
because
the
the
ties.
initial
Thank you.
trailer was bad. I'll send you guys.
I'll
that.
have to look at it.
We also talked about there's definitely a week coming up we know we won't have an episode on, or a regular episode. So we mentioned doing a Fiasco game, which she said she's 100% in for. She's played it once and it was incredibly fun, even though she wasn't that great at role playing. Role playing brings that game from like a 9 to a 10. Like if you have some good role players, that game gets pretty cool.
Yeah.
So right on.
We don't have any here.
Wait,
We suck.
I
At,
think if we're gonna be playing Fiasco,
All of us are.
we should study the characters from Jumanji and act like they would.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no!
No.
be The Rock.
No, but like part of how Fiasco works is you have to build your character based on how the dice roll, so you can't really
Okay, well,
Retcon.
retcon. Yeah, we're making our own Jumanji.
That'd be so funny.
But yeah. And then last thing she says here is, where was the challenge? I love that segment, but it wasn't there. So I'd love to hear you guys do
speaking
some more
of.
challenges. Yeah, so the reason we didn't talk about the challenge last week was because we didn't have Ryan and Jordan in.
We didn't have our challengers.
We didn't have half the people doing the challenge, but we will talk about the challenge today. So, challenges. How did everybody do for the not using? So, recap: the challenge was not using crutch words.
It was hard.
Like,
no
hey and guy.
problem.
Yeah.
Hey and guy.
Hey, you guy.
it's definitely difficult, but it's funny that I was a lot more aware of it, and I did do a very good job. I normally say no problem a lot, and I think
did
in the
too,
past 2 weeks, I said it maybe twice.
Nice.
But I said you're welcome or you're welcome quite a few times. And it's funny that since I've noticed it myself, what crutch words I say, I've started picking it up at people from work too. I'm like, oh, this person says, what does she say a lot? She says, or whatever. She says, or whatever a lot. And it's funny, you start picking up everyone else's crutch words once you start looking at it for yourself.
I'm aware right now.
Jordan, did you do the 300 level communications public speaking class?
Probably not.
Okay.
I did 235. I did
Okay.
oral communications.
So
Cool.
335, which is what I'm taking right now, it's all about rhetorical analysis, or like looking at speeches for how they're built, right? And once like after taking that class and watching any speech or even just listening to people speak now, all I can think about is like, oh, your cadence is too fast, or like, oh, you don't use the right word. It's ruined. It's like if you are interested in film and like know how film works, and you can't watch movies without going like, oh, that's this kind of shot, and that's this kind of shot. Now that I've had just speaking ruined for me, which is terrible.
no.
But
That's
Oh
not
no.
good.
no.
Yeah. That happens with any aspect. You start noticing things like when I didn't do any makeup design or any special effects makeup, but once I started doing that and watching movies, I start noticing, what's a good appliance and what's a bad appliance. I'm like, oh, okay, they cheaped out here.
Yeah.
And I could see like anytime there's any fake blood, like digitally added blood, I'm like, okay, that's obviously digital. I mean, most digital blood is pretty obvious.
Yep.
But you could tell the good blood versus the bad blood, and you're like,
Just gotta do it practical.
Yeah,
Always.
One of the big ones for me was coming when I first graduated high school, I worked in the trades for a while, and like seeing how movies portray like plumbing and HVAC systems and like duct. It's like that would never work. Like where are all these buildings with human-sized duct? Like why does this house have a duct big enough for this guy to crawl through? It's so stupid. But
Quack.
yeah. How'd you do with the challenge, Ryan?
Well, I say stuff like no problem a lot too, and I did make a point of saying you're welcome instead. And I also heard this thing that saying you're welcome or as opposed to no problem it's also a subconscious change for the person you're talking to, which I didn't know this. So when you say no problem, no is a negative word, so it leaves, even though it's a nice thing to say, it leaves a negative connotation, like negative thought in their mind. But if you say you're welcome, it's more of a positive way of saying that.
Interesting.
yeah.
And I didn't realize that, so I try and make a point of that too, especially like with my job for a bit. I was dealing a lot with different customers and that kind of thing. So I tried to make a point of saying you're welcome and hopefully leaving on a positive note with the customer. So
I'd like to add something to that as well. When you say no problem, it also seems like whatever you're doing for someone, it seems like that task was not really a big deal. But when you say you're welcome, you're showing that it was a big deal to you.
yeah, and you put effort into it.
And it also acts as an agent to reciprocity. So when you say you're welcome, it also makes the other person want to do something for you. But if you just say no problem, it was like, oh, it's no big deal. I'd do it for
See
ya.
anybody.
No problem. See ya.
Yeah, no problem. See you later. I'll do it
See
again
ya.
tomorrow. Don't worry, Tony. I'll make you a pizza.
Oh,
You're welcome.
You're welcome. No problem.
How about you, AJ?
That was deep. I must say, holy. We're really getting into the structure of the English language.
Oh, Do you want to talk about Garens?
No, let's not.
Let's talk about Latin roots.
For me, no, I didn't. I don't remember thinking about it or anything like that. I don't know. I kind of just shut my brain off.
Yeah, I
Didn't really think about the
same thing
challenge.
happened to me too.
Yeah, me too.
I walked out of the doors and then I read the challenge before recording today. I was like, oh, yep, that was the challenge.
That was a challenge.
For
It's kind of
shame.
hard to record. You know what I mean? It
is,
to
yeah.
know what we did and what we didn't.
Yeah.
So But what's our new challenge?
Our new challenge is go read a Spider-Man comic.
Whoa, not a Baby Driver comic.
I don't think they make Baby Driver comics.
Well, they probably will now.
Oh, maybe. But no.
They usually make like a popular franchise. They might come out with a mini series
Really?
with stuff.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, so okay, quick thing is I'm a bit of a comic person, so I have a bit of knowledge in this area. So I pose this challenge of reading a Spider-Man comic, and I want each and every one of you, listeners included, to do this
It
challenge.
shouldn't be hard. You could look at a comic
Yeah,
online, right?
is there an
for
easy
free?
way to get access to a comic online?
Yep. Marvel has a comics app. They actually have two, but one you need a subscription for. So Marvel Unlimited is their subscription service. It's I don't remember the price for it, but you have access to pretty much every Marvel comic in their database. And so Spider-Man is obviously in that database, so you could go read that there if you want to try a Marvel Unlimited month-long subscription. They also have their Marvel comic app, which you can just straight up go in and purchase individual issues or a full graphic novel if you like. You can also, if you're in the, what's it in the States? Barnes & Noble, is that it? We're at the
Sure.
bookstore.
They probably have more than one bookstore.
Well, the main one, because we have Indigo chapters
Yeah.
up here. I don't know if that's an American thing too.
You could
I
probably
don't
go to a library as well. I've seen libraries have comic books.
Oh, could
Yeah,
be.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even if you find a graphic novels, because if you read one issue, typically you're getting part of a story, and you're like, "What's going on?" Whatever. Like if you find a graphic novel, go for that, because then you'll get that full story, and you'll have a sense of completion. Plus, they don't take too long to go through. But yeah, that's the challenge I am posing.
So is it just an issue?
Spider-Man comic could be an issue. I would recommend you read more because
course.
Spider-Man is amazing.
Any
Yeah.
recommendations?
Any recommendations? I have a few. Brian Michael Bendis started in 2000. It's called Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's kind of a new universe kind of reboot of Spider-Man with a fresh origin, fresh villains, that kind of. But they're all the same villains with basically the same origins and all that. But yeah, that's really good. I've read the first appearance and first few issues in the original 1963 Spider-Man series, and that's a bit of a tough read because it's very much written in the Stanley, like, "Hello, true believers," and Spider-Man goes into this and he fights the villain and he thinks to himself, and very, very much like that side thoughts and extra writing points. So it takes a while to get through, and it can be a little difficult because it's the 1960s. So it's good because you're reading his first stories, but I also don't recommend it because it's a harder read. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man's always a good choice. If you want to check out Miles Morales Spider-Man, that's relatively new and recent. Go check that out. Yeah, that's what I got.
All right.
Right on. So if you guys end up reading some Spider-Man comics and want to write in about your experience, AJ, where can they hit us up?
At parttimealliesmail@gmail.com.
parttimealliesmail@gmail.com.
Hey, have you guys read a Spider-Man comic?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I haven't read any comics.
What?
So
Oh my
one
goodness.
issue. Just read an issue.
Here we go.
I don't even know what an issue is.
Yeah.
Is
You
it
know
like
what an
10
issue
pages?
is? I don't know. It's just like part of the chapter.
An issue,
Yeah.
an issue could be like a one-shot story that's 20 pages.
We love you.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Now, if you're ready for a vacation, you're probably not going to find it here. Dead Island is definitely a must when it comes to play with friends, because zombie slaying with friends is just so much more satisfying, provided you don't fight for characters. You get to choose between 4 characters, each with their own respective skill trees and weapon specialization. After that, you basically try to get off of Dead Island, fighting hordes of zombies on the way. Sure, in the beginning, it is mega fun, but it slowly becomes a little repetitive. Nonetheless, it is still a freaking zombie game. So of course, it's gonna be fun. But playing with 2 or more friends is going to make this zombie slaying experience a lot more worthwhile. Recommended. Dead Island. 7 out of 10.